They discover an invisible wall burning at 50,000 Kelvin on the edge of the solar system. Welcome to the cosmic hell. This is how Voyager almost got toasted while leaving the solar system. An invisible wall. At 50,000 Kelvin, on the edge of the solar system. It's not science fiction, it's not cheap clickbait. It's the kind of threat that not even Hollywood would dare to film, because NASA already did it first. In the middle of interstellar space, the Voyagers discovered something that shouldn't be there. A sort of infernal frontier, where the solar wind crashes like a car without brakes on a cosmic highway. Welcome to Mind-Blown Space, the channel where the universe is so absurd that even walls are invisible. But they burn. It was the year 2012 when Voyager 1, that little gadget that has been wandering for decades like a space retiree, crossed the what? Yes, the Heliopause. That place where the solar wind decides it's had enough of showing off and collides with interstellar space. That's where the delirium began. The sensors recorded such a brutal thermal jump that someone in Houston must have choked on their coffee. But careful. There are no flames, no lava, no alien monsters spitting fire. What there is something more elegant, a soup of charged particles sticking together with such enthusiasm that they raise the temperature to levels that would make a dragon sweat. The result? An invisible wall, dense, compressed, but so empty that it doesn't even manage to heat the spacecraft's fuselage. 50,000 Kelvin, but without heat. Basically, the most useless sauna in the universe. And meanwhile, Voyager kept moving forward as if nothing had happened, surviving what was supposed to be its space tomb. The official explanation? Oh, well, it's just that there are hardly any particles. Sure, and that's why they burn like someone tossed plutonium into a blender. If this doesn't sound surreal to you, wait until you know that this wall is neither a wall, nor fixed, nor kind. It moves, it deforms, it shrinks or inflates depending on the sun's mood. A true spectacle worthy of a bipolar god. And so, while most people are still arguing about whether Pluto is a planet or not, it turns out there's an invisible oven at the edge of the solar system. But don't worry. If one day we cross it in person, we'll surely be wearing a spacesuit made of asbestos. Science breaks. Crazy particles, magnetic fields, and a sun playing God. If you thought the 50,000 Kelvin hell was the most ridiculous thing in space, wait until you hear how it forms. Because it turns out that the frontier where the solar wind ends and galactic emptiness begins is a kind of boxing ring of crazy particles, all shoving each other invisibly, as if competing for who is the most energetic. The secret is in plasma, but not the one used in hospitals. This is the plasma that makes up most of the universe. A state of matter that is neither solid, nor liquid, nor gas, but a chaos with electric charge. It's the kind of substance one should never leave lying around, especially not at the edges of a solar system. When the solar wind, with its hot, proud particles, reaches the edge of the heliosphere, it runs into the interstellar medium, colder, older, and with a bad attitude. They don't mix, they don't hug, they don't greet, they crash. And that invisible collision generates a collisionless shock, an expression as contradictory as it is effective, particles that never touch, yet still hit each other. Welcome to the physics of the absurd. And as if that weren't enough, magnetic fields come into play. They squeeze, they twist, they reconnect, and they release energy, as if they were live wires exploding in slow motion. NASA calls it magnetic reconnection. We call it a galactic mess that not even Einstein would want to solve. But there's something even more disturbing. When Voyager 1 crossed this zone of madness, scientists expected the magnetic field to twist, like a compass changing owners. But no, the outer field lined up suspiciously with the inner one. Coincidence? Maybe. Until Voyager 2 arrived and recorded the same thing. Surprise, the fields were connected, as if the sun were holding the galaxy with a cosmic rope. So then, does this mean we live inside a kind of magnetic bubble attached to another bigger bubble? Or that the universe, instead of being separated into orderly compartments, is a continuous soup of interwoven forces? We don't know. But one thing is clear. The edge of the solar system is not an end. It's a cosmic identity crisis with thermal side effects. A shield against galactic chaos or a solar smokescreen? Spoiler, both. It turns out that this infernal wall that burns without heating and this suspiciously ordered magnetic field aren't just there to scare spaceships or generate headlines. they also have a function. Apparently, the solar system isn't as brave as we think. It needs protection. And the Heliopause is its ridiculous but effective shield against galactic chaos. Protection from what? From cosmic rays. Those cheerful projectiles that come from the far reaches of the universe carrying enough energy to pierce a spacecraft, an astronaut, or your list of excuses for not going to the gym. That's why the heliosphere, that balloon inflated by the solar wind, acts as a filter. The stronger the sun blows, the bigger the balloon. The more it relaxes, the smaller it becomes. It's like a hysterical parent protecting its stellar kindergarten. During solar maximums, when the sun gets creative and throws storms like poorly managed fireworks, the heliosphere expands. That means more shield, fewer cosmic rays. But when it enters its phase of stellar depression, the bubble shrinks. Result: more high-energy particles manage to slip through. In other words, the solar system has high seasons of radiation. This phenomenon doesn't just affect astronauts, who, by the way, must be thrilled to have to cross a field of furious particles just to get out of Earth's orbit. It also impacts satellites, communications, and even Earth's atmosphere. But of course, you won't see this on the news between the horoscope and the weather forecast. The most hilarious thing is that until recently, we thought the edge of the solar system was a clear line, something you could draw with a ruler. And now we discover it's a kind of drunk frontier. It moves, wobbles, and changes shape depending on the sun's mood. Literally, we live inside a plasma balloon with a bad temper. So yes, the Heliopause is our shield. But it's also a reminder that our star doesn't just give light, it also gives problems. Lots of problems. And the worst part is that this shield is not eternal. The Voyager legacy. How 2 tin cans with antennas embarrassed the entire Earth. While you were updating your phone's operating system for the 8th time this year, out there, in the deepest darkness of nearby space, 2 metal boxes with 1972nd technology were redefining modern science. No Wi-Fi, no touchscreen, no airplane mode. Just a handful of chips, magnetic tape, and the most epic stubbornness ever launched into space. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, those silent heroines without capes, crossed the border of the heliosphere and told us, "Hey, there's an invisible oven here, by the way." And then they kept moving forward like someone crossing the wrong street but deciding not to look back. They didn't have state-of-the-art shields, nor thermal protection to withstand 50,000 Kelvin. They were just well-built. Sounds strange? To NASA too. And although they are still alive, more or less their nuclear battery is running out. At the beginning of the 2032nd, the silence will be total. Their voices will fade, and no one else will tell us what the hell is happening 20 billion kilometers away. But of course, don't worry, there are already replacement plans. One of them is IMAP, a satellite that won't leave the solar system but will spy on its border like a curious neighbor. Another is the interstellar probe, an even more ambitious concept that if it doesn't get cancelled due to lack of budget or will travel 20 times farther than Pluto. And what's all this for? To understand whether the sun really rules out there, or if it's just making noise so we don't notice that beyond its kingdom, there are structures, waves, pressures, and particles even crazier than the ones we already know. The Voyagers didn't tell us the end of the story. They only opened the door to a tale we still don't understand. But they made something clear. The edge of the solar system is not an edge. It's a zone of electromagnetic war disguised as a space transition. So next time you look at the sky and think you're safe in this blue bubble, remember, beyond the sun, beyond Neptune, there's an invisible wall that burns, and that protects you from a universe that was not made for you. Subscribe to Mind Blown Space, hit the bell, and share this cosmic delirium with those who still think the universe is boring. See you in the next stellar ab.